Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Jay's Latest. I'm your host, Craig Borden, and today we're going to talk all things trade rumors and all things Toronto Blue Jays news. But today we are going to start off with something special because yesterday was the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame induction ceremonies. And yes, there was a plethora of new people joining the Baseball Hall of Fame. The players that joined are the late, great David Parker, who was also a former Toronto Blue Jay in his final season. The Cobra son did his induction for him as he passed away literally about a month ago at this point. But oh my God, it was one of the greatest speeches that I've seen in a while. His son reading a poem that his late father had written. I couldn't imagine giving this speech and not being just constantly a waterworks with my father. But at the end of the day, it was so Cobra and him channeling, obviously, the blood that was his father's. And it was a great speech. I highly recommend checking that one out. With him, Dick Allen of the Phillies, Billy Wagner, Ichiro Suzuki, and CC Sabathia becoming enshrined with baseball's immortals yesterday. And if you're looking for somebody that did also a pretty good stand-up baseball routine, Ichiro Suzuki was pretty damn funny during his speech yesterday, so please check that out. It was really fun. So, moving right along, baseball, rumors, trade deadline, all that kind of good jazz is going on, and there is some craziness going on. It appeared a few months ago that the Washington Nationals were completely content on holding on to Mackenzie Gore. It sounds like they are potentially dangling him, and the Cubs are thinking they're first in line. So the Chicago Cubs are looking for that starting pitcher, and they're knocking on the Washington Nationals' door. So the bigger question is, if they're knocking on the door, will the Blue Jays be knocking on the door? And I think the Blue Jays are going to be checking in and very interested in any starting pitching that they humanly possibly can gather up, because they're also curious about what they could do for selecting somebody good at this trade deadline to bolster this team's rotation going forward. The rental would be great, but if they were able to secure somebody like Mackenzie Gore that has some, talent and control, they're going to probably look to move and strike on that. So it will be very interesting to see if he is actually truly indeed on the trading block for the Washington Nationals, because that would be a heck of a sign for the Blue Jays to get him into Blue Jay Blue and out of Washington, D.C. Next, it appears Seth Lugo might be off the board. Reports are coming out that Seth Lugo, regardless of the Royals being contenders and trying to retool possibly and keep it moving in the right direction, they are apparently in the ballpark of re-signing Seth Lugo for a 2-year, $46 million extension. That would effectively take the ageless wonder that is Seth Lugo off of the board for this trade deadline. Because why would they extend him if they're going to just turn around and trade him? Conspiracy theorists wouldn't think that would you'd trade him around just to sign him first. You would let the other team do that negotiating and let them deal with the extension talk. So I doubt that's going to happen. But at the end of the day, it is intriguing to see that the Royals actually think they're in this to the point where they're going to hold on to Seth Lugo. So good stuff. But that does take a player off of the board for potential Blue Jay trades. So, and that was one actually I thought that was realistic enough that the Blue Jays could have gotten Seth Lugo and been able to make a run with it. But that's how the cookie crumbles. So, what happened yesterday and what is still realistic? So, the Blue Jays are still going to be diving on the board here, hopefully after starting pitching. As far as who they're still pursuing, the most likely is still looking at the Mitch Kellers, Zach Gallens, Merrill Kellys, and whatnot. Rumors have not went away that the Minnesota Twins are going to trade. The question is, are they really going to trade Yohan Duran or Joe Ryan that are under team control? I don't see it personally, but you never know. I would love to see them throw a pile of prospects in the Austin, like a la Austin Martin trade, and get Jose Barrios all over again. That would be just incredible if we were able to flip that again for the Twins to be able to do that. But they might still be feeling a little burned from that other one. Just saying. Seeing Austin Martin have not really moved into being the great infielder that we thought he was going to be, and Simeons Woods Richardson has been a decent salvageable starter, but nothing to write home about as well. So it'll be interesting. So yesterday, Blue Jays end their road trip that in Detroit at least, and they are going to be heading eventually here to Baltimore. That's in play today. So avoided the sweep, the Tigers did, and wow, did they avoid it. After a very, very good start from Max Scherzer, 7 innings of incredible work, 11 strikeouts, 3 hits, 3 earned runs, and they were all in the same time. And it just was. Those 3 pitches were basically the only hard problem we had the whole day. Gives up 2 singles, and then Gleyber Torres puts one into the bleachers, and next thing you know, Mad Max locked in even further and just continued to mow through the Detroit Tigers. Outside of those 3 batters, Max Scherzer was on fire and looking great. On the flip side, the Blue Jays offense could not find anything that they could get done against Jack Flaherty. Picks up his 6th win of the season, 5 hits, no earned runs, 7 strikeouts, and a walk. Blue Jays just could not find a way to get it going. Late innings, they put up a chance in the 9th inning with only getting 4 runs, but I think it was just more nobody wanted to make the last out. And the Detroit Tigers, the inning before that, had jumped out to a 7-run spot to push it to 10-0 at the time. So Chad Green and Brule being the main contributors to that, they had a really hard time just struggling to get 3 outs in the 8th inning. So what's next, Blue Jays fans, you might ask? The Blue Jays are heading to Baltimore to play 4 games in 3 days in the what is sweltering in Baltimore. Crazy hot. Hopefully the bats can stay hot. Baltimore has been having a rough year. They are currently 47-58 to the Blue Jays, Major League best 63-43. Chris Bassett versus Zach Eflin tonight. Eflin, the Orioles opening day starter, which says a lot, I think, with how this team has been constructed and continuing to run. 6-5 record, 5.78 ERA. So Zach Eflin's been having a really rough year, and Chris Bassett will be on the mound against him. And it's going to be interesting to see how he continues running here, because he's been doing really well over his last couple starts. 7 1/3 in his last start, only allowing 3 hits, but 3 earned runs, 8 strikeouts, 6 1/3 before that, scattering 10 hits. So on the offense side, the Blue Jays have had a pretty good time against Zach Eflin. Vladdy Jr. in particularly. In 21 at-bats, he's been .333 with 4 RBIs and 2 home runs. And that's really the one that's got the most. So, it is what it is. But the Blue Jays will be playing this evening at 6:35. And like I said, trying to avoid the heat, because tomorrow they will be playing a double dip and then a day game on Wednesday before they get an off day. So it's going to be a little bit of an assault over the next 72 hours for the Toronto Blue Jays. Anyway, tune in every day here for the most traded rumors, and we'll talk all things Toronto Blue Jays. And have a great day, everybody. Cheers.